Hi everyone, welcome back to the addtaxpod, the podcast where I remind you to know your worth and then add tax, period. Okay, so if you've already watched this podcast before, you're probably like, why the are you outside? Where the is your co-host? What the is going on? And honestly, yeah, I would have the same questions because what the is going on? And I'm not gonna lie, first of all, the lighting out here is a bit different than I anticipated. It's not as sunny as I thought it was gonna be, but it's okay. We're still making it do what it do. Okay, where do we start, you guys? We have a lot to catch up on. First of all, yes, I do look completely different. My hair is blonder. My nails are different. So much has happened, you guys. We have so much to catch up on. I have so much to catch you guys up on. Whew! Okay, so let's just get into it. First of all, I'm 26. I had my birthday about 2 weeks ago, and my birthday, you guys, was so special and so honestly like magical. Like, it was just such a wonderful birthday. I had so much fun. I was alone, but I feel like on this self-reclamation, self-healing journey that I've been on, I've just been really learning how to enjoy my own company, enjoy being by myself, enjoy living life with myself, and just nurturing that relationship that I have with myself. Because when you go through years of dealing with toxic ass people, yeah, you really do end up neglecting yourself and being like really not even knowing what you even like, you know? So yeah, so I just had such a great birthday by myself. And it was so much fun. I was at the beach. I ate so much good food. And I was driving around in a Tesla. And, you know, it's still Elon Musk. I'll never buy a Tesla. But just driving it was a lot of fun. You know, I'm not going to knock that it's a fun car to drive, okay? But I'll never buy one because he's a piece of and I'm not about to give him my money. My second home to me is the Tampa Bay area, like the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, which also Donald Trump and the Republicans, whoever co-signed naming it to the Gulf of America. I looked at the map. I said they actually did that. But yeah, it's still the Gulf of Mexico to me. I don't give a But yeah, my second home is the beaches along the Gulf of Mexico and the Tampa Bay area. So it was just so nice to be back. And yeah, I missed being there and just living my beach life. It was so fun and it was so great. First order of business is, why am I alone? This is me formally announcing that this is now a solo podcast, and I am excited about that. I'm excited that it's a solo venture because this was my dream, and I was very, very blessed to have this idea to start a podcast and blessed with the name Add Tax. Patience is no longer a part of the Add Tax podcast, Add Tax Studios, the whole Add Tax brand. She is I'll say sadly, no longer a part of it, because it was really sad how it all ended, honestly. As you guys saw, I really did think that we had a good partnership and like a good friendship, first of all. And I thought it was a good idea initially to bring her on board with my idea of having this podcast. But she proved otherwise. And I plan on giving more detail in a video that will be on my Patreon, but So stay tuned for that. I don't know when it's going to drop, so don't hold me to a deadline, y'all. But yeah, but there will be a video on the AdTax podcast Patreon, which hasn't even launched yet, but just stay tuned for when that does launch, okay? There's a lot that's been going on. I'll give you guys the Cliff Notes version of what happened. So the Cliff Notes version, I mean, I think I said it, did I say it in the first episode? But the sentiment of the first episode was like, everything that happens in the dark always comes to light. So obviously this is going to come to light too. We have batch recorded the past couple episodes. So I think episode 3, 4, and 5. We had so much fun. It was feeling so aligned. I was exhausted, but it was still like a lot of fun recording them. She leaves for 4th of July, comes back, all of a sudden complete, what do they call it, a 180? It's not 360. A complete 180 of like her behavior towards me and how she was treating me. I don't know what happened when she was away, but I literally saw her the day that she was leaving, and we were recording 2 episodes, and yeah, like I thought everything was great. I've always been the one doing the actual episode editing, majority of promotion. Like, I'll just call it all the heavy lifting for the podcast, which I had no issue with because this podcast was my dream, first and foremost. And I brought her into the fold because I thought that she was somebody that had something to contribute positively to it. And also, as you can see from the first 2 episodes specifically, our stories are very, very intertwined. When she returned, there was gaslighting and manipulation, claims about my character that were just very, very untrue, and words being said to me that are not words that I would expect from somebody that's actually my friend and not somebody that has genuine love and care for me. So it was like all these accusations hurled at me, and then I need space. The shutdown, it's the stonewalling. So it was like the gaslighting and manipulation, then the stonewalling. And me being in this weird limbo of like, okay, are we gonna talk about this? Like, because there was no, like, still to this day, y'all, I still don't know what the actual issue was. And I had tried to get to the root of it. I had clarified things on my end, and still just no clarity from her. And when she was open to having a phone conversation, she only wanted to have that conversation if her manager was involved. He's probably watching this too, so I'm gonna just say this. Y'all are weird. Because I came to her one night just vulnerably like, hey, I just want my friend back. Like, I didn't even want to talk about the podcast logistics. I just wanted to talk about, hey, like, I don't want to lose a friend. Like, can we just talk about what the is going on? Because I feel this weird energy, like, emitting from you. But she only wanted to have a conversation if her manager was involved. And so then and she wanted to like negotiate the terms of the something like that. So I was like, well, the podcast is mine. So no, I'm not about to sit with your manager to talk about something that I own. And then I had to, unfortunately and sadly, release her from the podcast, which resulted in her trying to sabotage my brand and my YouTube page specifically, which resulted in me having to send her a cease and desist. that's the point. So it was like, okay, I was already trying to peacefully sever the like business tie, if you will. I'm putting business in quotes for everyone that's listening. I still kind of had hope for the friendship. Maybe that was naive, but then I was like, okay, I gotta send you a cease and desist letter. Like that, I've never had to send a friend a cease and desist letter. So that's when I was like, that's not even my I cannot even call you a friend anymore, because not only did she do something to try and sabotage my brand, but then also it was illegal. What she did was illegal. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way did she try and pull some like this. It's one thing to be upset, okay? Upset that you got cut from the project, upset that you don't have any say in the future of the brand. But it's another thing to go out of your way to try and illegally sabotage this. So that is all I'm gonna say on that. Ever since all of that transpired, it's just been some time of me figuring out what direction I want to take this in going forward. And honestly, I think that me cutting her off was for the best, because it felt like almost immediately as I did, I started getting downloads and so much inspiration and ideas for the new heights that I can take this podcast. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to see that going forward. If you were only watching this or listening to this podcast strictly for Patience, my now ex-co-host, and you don't actually care about the messages or the mission of this podcast, and you have no desire to listen or watch anymore, that's okay. I understand. You were supporting her in something that she was a part of, and you don't care anymore now that she's not a part of it. So honestly, I'm glad that I got this out of the way first, so that if you want to click away, exit out of the YouTube browser, whatever you want to do, and just be like, ad tax, that's your prerogative. I'm gonna keep this going because this is my brand and my vision. So, but yeah, if you were, thank you to those people for your early support, for whatever your reasons were. Oh, a bird. For whatever your reasons were, I appreciate your views, your likes, your subscription, whatever you did to support. I appreciate it. So thank you, and I wish you all the best in whatever other podcasts you choose to listen to. And to Patience, I wish you the best of luck in all your future ventures. I know that she has so much going on, so all I can do is really wish her the best and thank her for her past contributions, no matter how small they were. Before I get into what I really want to talk about in this episode, I want to remind everybody that is here to stay because they enjoy the podcast and the message and what it stands for as a whole. I want to say thank you. Thank you to the supporters of the AddTax podcast. I have so much love and so much gratitude for you for sticking around. I think you're going to love it. And what I have planned for it going forward, which I'm going to get a little bit into today. But while you're here, if you've made it this far and you haven't left because Patience is no longer here, I just want to encourage you to please like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It helps my channel so much to reach other people that need to connect with this podcast. And if you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, please go ahead, also leave a comment or a review, and please don't forget to follow the page and also follow me on Instagram at the addtaxpod. What else do I have? A Substack now. If you enjoy reading, follow me on Substack. If you are listening on Apple, if you're an Apple girly, follow me on Apple. Spotify. If you're a Spotify girly like me, go ahead and hit that follow. Leave a 5-star review. Yup. What does Jessie Woo say? Because I'm a 5-star. Yep. But yeah, go ahead. Don't be shy. Hit that subscribe. Don't be shy. Hit that subscribe. So that you can stay up to date with everything that we have going on. Well, everything that I have going on here at the addtaxpod and all of the cool and exciting things I'm going to be bringing to you guys as we continue on this journey. So thank you. Thank you so much in any way that you show support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And honestly, yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to continue this podcast. I love this podcast so much. And I just really hope that it finds the people that it needs to and that it resonates with the people that needs to, which perfect segue into my next point, which is I would like to formally reintroduce you to this podcast, the addtaxpod. The addtaxpod, as you know, the catchline, tagline, whatever it is know your worth and then add tax. That's truly, in the most basic form, the mission of this podcast and this brand. And recently, I had the thought of like, this is not a self-help podcast. This is a self-reclamation podcast, because why I thought it, like how it came to me was in the very beginning stage of my journey to reclaiming myself, reclaiming my identity, reclaiming my life, and realizing that so many choices were taken away from me through all the toxic and abusive relationships that I've been in for majority of my life, as well as me not even having a sense of identity, which now it's so sad, but so true, that I had no sense of identity. I didn't know who I was. I really had a hard time thinking for myself a lot of times. Like 9 times out of 10, it was hard. There were times where I could think for myself, but a lot of times it was just really, really hard. And not having that self-trust, not having a true say in what I wanted my life to be and what I wanted out of life. So this podcast is truly to encourage women like myself who are on the other side of toxic and abusive relationships, where you're in that space of like, okay, I want my life back. And I want to explore what life is like on the other side of being in a toxic and abusive ass relationship. Because you deserve to live life for you, not for anybody else, not for your family, not for some man, not for anybody else except for yourself. This is literally your life. Like, you literally only get one. You gotta live it for yourself. And that is why I want to start this podcast, to share what I've been through, because there were so many times in my life's journey so far that I felt so alone, of like, is anybody else going through this bullshit that I've been through? And letting go, releasing the fear of speaking out against the people that have abused, the men. Well, men and women. Because I also talk about friendships and other types of relationships here. So it's just all the relationships that have been so toxic and so abusive, that have made me feel so devalued, and the experiences that I've been through in this podcast, sharing those in hopes of like somebody else can resonate. You on the other side of this screen, you can resonate with the stories that I'm sharing and be like, wow, I was through something similar and I made it on the other side too. And like, she's so right. Like, I deserve to live my life, be the main character, and live life for me, because it doesn't matter how long you were in the cycles of toxicity and abuse. Like, again, I just turned 26. So, but I'm like, my life isn't over. I still have so much more life to live. So instead of staying in the state of victimhood and now choosing a path of like, okay, let me reclaim my life. Let me reclaim my sense of identity. Let me reclaim who Jasmine is, what Jasmine stands for, and what Jasmine wants to do with her life, you know? So that's who my podcast is truly, truly for. And anybody else that listens and still enjoys it and can like resonate with it on some level. But I do think that sometimes it can be hard to know when you're in a toxic or abusive relationship, which is why you often stay there for so long, which is why I often stayed in them for so long, because I didn't know that I was in that. So that's why it really is for the women that have made it to the other side. And it's like a breath of fresh air of like, we can talk about this, talk about what we've been through, and talk about like how up it was, and how now that I'm free from it all, now that I'm free from the shackles, I can go out here and like the world is my oyster, you know? It's not exclusionary to where it's like, oh, if you've only been through this, you can. No, like, if it resonates with you, then please stay. I'd love to have you here. But yeah, just wanted to reintroduce the mission of the podcast: to know your worth and then add tax. Be the main character of your life's story. To kind of backtrack just a little bit, I think it's really, really funny how one of the most recent episodes that Patience and I did together was the episode on fake friendships. And to kind of get back to what I really want this episode to be about, which is how people talk to you in toxic relationships. And I would say that in my friendship with Patience, it didn't get toxic yet because I left at the first sign, which I think, honestly, I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I was able to clock it at the first, at a beginning sign, which was how horribly she was speaking to me. And through the negative words that she was spewing at me and just the untruthful picture that she was trying to paint of my character, it made me realize that like I was able to clock it because I was like, wait, I don't even talk to myself that way. So why the would I stay in a friendship or any relationship where I let somebody else talk to me that way? You know? And that's why I was like, okay, she needs to go, because I'm not about to deal with, I don't care who you are, I'm not about to deal with anybody that doesn't speak to me kindly, lovingly, like none of that. It reminded me of a common thread. So I found this in all kinds of toxic / abusive relationships that I've been in. So I found it in relationships with romantic partners where I've had boyfriends that have said really demeaning things to me, or like a working relationship with somebody where it's like, okay, that wasn't cool and that was a very toxic thing to say to me. Familial relationships where it's like, you're supposed to be my family, like you're supposed to be speaking love into me and you're just spewing hatred and toxicity. So there's so many, I think that's just, it's one of the common threads in toxic relationships, and that's how you know that you're in one, or it's snowballing into one, where it's like, okay, you're talking to me in a way that I don't talk to myself. And I think that's why it was so hard for me to clock whenever I was in a toxic relationship, in like earlier in my life, because I was already talking to myself like I hated myself because I didn't like myself. So I was already saying things like, oh, you're ugly, oh, you're fat, oh, you're stupid, oh, like you're so bad at cleaning, oh, you're such a, like, you're not a helpful girlfriend, oh, you're such an unsupportive cousin, like all these different things. And the list goes on, because when you don't like yourself and you're not speaking positively to yourself, the possibilities are endless. Like, you get really creative with the different ways that you can talk negatively to yourself, because you also know everything about you. The one thing that you have over the toxic people is that you know everything about you. So you're able to be real creative with all of the negativity that you speak to yourself. And like, honestly, being able to cut her off so early on into seeing the beginning, those beginning little, because it starts off subtle. They start subtle and then it'll snowball. But if you're able to catch it in the beginning when it's subtle, you're able to cut it off before it can dig roots into your life. So I'm really glad that I was able to cut her off before she was able to dig deep roots into my life and just spread the toxicity everywhere. But it reminded me of my most recent ex. I mean, I've had this with several exes. Okay, wait. Before we get into the most recent one, we gotta start with the first one, actually. So let's time travel a little bit. Okay, that was a time travel sound. But we gotta time travel back to the first one. And you know what's hilarious? Okay, I tend to come up with a name for people that I don't want to say their real name. And obviously I'm never going to give a real name on this podcast. But my name for my first ex-boyfriend is underpants. So, okay, so underpants, my first ex-boyfriend. He was such a piece of shit. He's a narcissist, and he's such a loser piece of shit. And it's so hilarious because during this most recent Mercury retrograde, he actually reached out to me through Snapchat and was like, because I posted a little video where, I don't know, I was just showing off my nails, but I guess I looked cute because I always look cute. And he like, I don't even think we're friends on Snapchat. So girl, I don't even know how he saw it, but somehow he saw that shit. And he had the nerve to swipe up and say, oh, yo, what'd he say? He said like, yo, I think we should still talk if that's cool with you, or something like that. In my head, I'm like, talk about what? Like, what is there to talk about? So I didn't respond because I'm like, that's so evil. That's literally so evil. Why are you trying to get in my phone? So I didn't respond. But, it wasn't even triggering, which I think shows how far I've come. Because seeing his name used to be like, ah! But now I'm like, okay, you loser. It's been like 5 years since we were even together. Or the last time that we even talked. I've seen him around, unfortunately. But it's been like 5 years since we last talked. I'm like, talk about what? You're a piece of I'm a bad like, there's no timeline where we talk again, Saying all that to say that he would say such mean things to me. He would say stuff about like my body, like how my boobs weren't like big enough for him. Some of it is a little bit too disturbing to share on this podcast, if I'm being for real. But that was my first experience of being, he was my first boyfriend. So that was my first experience of being in a relationship where I had somebody talking negatively to me. And he would just in general like write off my experiences, write off, my feelings and all of that kind of stuff. And it just made me feel, the gaslighting just made me feel crazy. It made me feel like I was overreacting. He actually did say that I would overreact, or that I was too emotional. And one time I was crying to him and he was like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? And I'm just looking back, I'm like, you. Because I'm crying because you're being a But yeah, girl. And whenever I met him, whenever I got with him, my sense of self-worth was already like at ground level. But then once I got with him, he just like chipped away at it so much that I ended up leaving that relationship in even more in more shambles than when I met him, which is crazy because I was already I had a fake sense of confidence when I met him, but I think it showed me that like you don't actually love yourself. Like you actually don't. You don't know what self-love is because you're looking for it in this man who's not giving it to you. He's treating you like you're a piece of meat. But yeah, it was so crazy because I tried to do affirmations and I was in my little college apartment and I wrote all these like I am beautiful affirmations and like all that and like stuck it on my closet mirror, and I thought that it was gonna like help or whatever. And honestly, like it didn't. Like I just like would stare at them and I just felt nothing. Like I just felt numb because I really didn't even, I had a very big and very sad and honestly low-key scary identity crisis after that relationship. He left me in a place where I like did not know who I was because I was always second guessing myself and I was always like, maybe I'm overreacting, or like maybe he's right and I'm wrong, or maybe I am crazy. Or it was just so, if you've been with a narcissist, but I just left feeling so empty inside. And I was just like, the affirmations were just it just wasn't working, and I just felt so alone, and I was just like, I just hated myself so bad. So I gave up on even trying to fix my mindset at all, and kind of, instead of being like, okay, affirmations aren't working, what can I use that to like supplement them or complement them or whatever, I just gave up on any type of healing altogether and instead slapped a band-aid on of like, all right, well, I always say that that's the relationship that turned me into a hoe. And a hoe it did, because instead of actually being like, okay, maybe the affirmations aren't working right now because I need to do a little bit more like deeper groundbreaking work within myself. Instead, I just thought that going around and hooking up with other men and all this stuff would help me, and like drinking, I was vaping. I was just thinking that, again, I was 20 years, or no, wait, I was 21. Yes, I was 21. But just thinking that, because this was 5 years ago, I'm 26 now, but just thinking that all of these things would be able to just, it was like a band-aid, just trying to be like, maybe if I just do all of that, then that's how I'll feel better. And honestly, I'll get into another episode of my journey with vaping. That relationship is also the relationship that led me into my nicotine addiction. Oh, yeah, because I was so empty. I had 3 roommates. They all vaped. And I was like, does vaping like make you feel something? And they were like, yeah, it gives me like this buzz and like I feel good. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get one. So that's what I did, because I was just at such a low point that I was like, I just want to feel anything. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to feel something. So I was just filling that void with alcohol and nicotine, vaping. men and just like going to parties, and it was just such a dark time. I thought I was having fun. It felt fun on a surface level, but it wasn't healing anything in me. It didn't do anything. So, but yeah, so then that's the fast forward sound. So we're fast forwarding now to my most recent ex, and how in that relationship he would say things to me that would intentionally, because I don't think that he just willy-nilly said this. Yeah, he's a but like he's a smart, you know? Yeah, he's abusive, but he's very, very smart. I will give him that. Like, he's like intellectually smart, you know? So I don't think that, so like I never give abusers the pass of like, oh, he just didn't know what he was saying, or he just didn't know what he was doing. No, he knew exactly what the he was doing. He knew exactly what the he was saying, because that's the same excuse he would give me of like, after he would like, you know, kick a hole in his door or something up. Oh, I just didn't have control. No, you had control. Like, you knew what you were doing. You just decided to do it because that's how you cope. That's how you express your anger. You don't express it in a healthy way. You express it in a violent way. So, no. One thing about me is I don't date idiots, usually. Or I usually don't get in relationships with idiots. Like, okay, they might all have been abusive and toxic, but they were all very book smart. Because I'm a book smart. So I'm not about to... I think there was one person that was actually stupid. I think there might have been one guy that was actually like, okay, you're not the brightest bulb in the box, but 9 times out of 10, they are typically smart. It's really hard for me to have conversations with people that are just intellectually not at my level, especially when it's a man, because I'm like, okay, like when I'm dating them, if it's just something casual, then like I don't really care, because I'm just like, okay. But when it's something like intentional or like serious, in the past it would always have been somebody that I could intellectually, like, felt intellectually attracted to as well. Like, and I would tell him, my most recent ex, I would tell him, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, how you think is really attractive. But besides that, so saying that to say that, he knew what the doing. And he knew that saying certain things would make me feel like I can't even think right now about the exact specific comments. But the one thing that I can remember specifically is that while we were in the earlier stages of dating, he made a tweet about Coco Jones, because he was like obsessed with Coco Jones. And Coco Jones is such a baddie. Love her music. Like, she's amazing. But obviously we look very different, and that's okay. Baddies come in all shapes and sizes and colors and flavors and whatever. So we're just 2 different flavors of baddies. But he was like obsessed with Coco Jones and SZA. So 2 people that I look wildly different than. And I'm just like, okay, you're bringing up Coco, like you made a tweet about Coco Jones and how if you were at if he was an NBA player and Coco Jones was on the sidelines and he would have like his career record of like scoring points or something like that, which at the time I was like, that's weird. Why are you saying that when you're literally like, we're dating, you know, and you're over here making, I mean, you know, hindsight's 2020, so I should have just ended it there. Yeah. But like, it was something that stuck with me for the duration of our relationship, where I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I knew he had this infatuation with Coco Jones. And I'm like, I get it. If I was a man, I'd probably be infatuated with her too. But if you're going to be over here fantasizing about Coco Jones, leave me the alone. Leave other women the fuck alone. Because clearly I couldn't decide for myself to leave him alone. So you should have just left me the alone. If you love Coco Jones so much and you love SZA so much, which again, I love them. It has nothing to do with them as women. It's him that's the problem. And him using them as like manipulative ways to like make me feel like I was less than because I'm not them. Comments that would just make me feel like I'm not enough or that I need to do more or that I need to look like these people. Because I'm telling you, all these people, they look nothing like me. So then it would breed this question of like, well, babe, why are you with me? Babe, well, if you wanted to be with her, then why are you with me? Like, I don't look like anything. Why, if you're attracted to them, why are you attracted to me? Like, I don't look anything like them. And all these questions. But, you know, down the line, it got to a point where I was like, it made me think about the first relationship that I mentioned and how I was like, I'll be if I continue to live a life where I'm constantly wondering what a man sees in me. Because I need to see the beauty in myself. I need to see the value in myself. And that's when it started. And that's what led me to getting actually back into affirmations. The thing that years before I had written off and I was like, affirmations, they don't work. How is me just telling myself, you look pretty today, gonna do anything? But it was that conscious self-awareness of like, wait, I want to start doing the inner work. So it was paired with me going to therapy. Because it wasn't just like, oh, let me just do affirmations and they're going to solve all my problems. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. But it was like, okay, I actually started going to therapy. Therapy was like once a week for an hour and a half or whatever. So, you know, that's only once a week. So what are you going to fill the rest? What are you going to fill other slots of time with to supplement that? And what other tools are you going to use to help repair what's been broken down? You know, not saying that we're broken, but I'm just saying like the things that have been chiseled away at. What tool are you going to use to build that back up? And for me, it was affirmations and self-love affirmations, beauty affirmations, confidence affirmations, talking to myself in a way that was loving and kind and gentle and affirming and that boosted my confidence. Even though I was in a relationship where he like, it would even be things of like, we would link up, you know, it was a long distance relationship, but let's say he picked me up, he was coming into town, he picks me up, or I fly to him and he picks me up from the airport. And there's no like, oh my gosh, babe, like you're so beautiful. Or even if we were on FaceTime, no like, oh my gosh, babe, like you're so beautiful. That would be like every once in a while. But when the person is intentionally withholding, because sometimes it's not even the things that they say, but the things that they're withholding, the compliments of like, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. Or like, wow, like, you know, I love that shirt or whatever the and being like, just what it breeds in your mind when you are at a place of insecurity of like, oh my gosh, like, do they even like me? Like, he thinks I'm ugly. It was really when I realized that like, I need to find a way to remind myself that like, I am that girl, because he's not going to do it. I was not getting it from him. So I was like, I have to find that from myself. And yeah, it wasn't the ideal way of really, but sometimes it takes that relationship where you just get fed up with dealing with men that don't value you the way that you like inherently know you need to be valued and that you should be valued. So even though I stayed, I was like, I'm gonna still pour into myself. I'm gonna still tell myself that I am beautiful. I am that. And honestly, it gave me so much confidence, like going to therapy, starting up yoga. Could have been any type of physical activity, but the one that spoke to me was yoga. And then doing the affirmations was something that really, really boosted my self-confidence, my sense of self-worth. And the affirmations are one of the tools that I still return to this day, even along my decentering men journey, my personal healing journey. It is what I return to on a regular basis, is affirmations, where I either write them down or I listen to them or I read them or whatever the case may be. And it's not even like a woo-woo thing. I thought that it was like a woo-woo thing like years ago. It's actually a psychological like neuroscience thing. And it's just the way you talk to yourself is how you're going to see yourself. The way you talk about your life is how you're going to see your life. It really builds the lens that you experience yourself, experience your body, experience your vessel, experience life through. It's the thoughts that you think, the stuff that you entertain. And it made it so much easier for me to combat. It's not like it just magically made all the negative self-talk go away. It definitely didn't. But it made it so much easier to combat. I would be like, okay, while I'm taking my shower tonight, I'm going to listen to these affirmations and try and kind of like rewire this in my brain. Then it was so much easier to combat those negative thoughts and be like, okay, wait, I'm me. Sally Mae has going on. Like, I am smart. I'm beautiful. I'm intelligent. I am all of these things, all these positive things about myself. It made me think about reasons why anybody would be lucky to have me in their life, you know, and why I'm lucky to be me, why I'm lucky to be me, and why I love being me. And it's turned into this beautiful relationship with myself, again, paired with therapy and pouring into other ways of healing myself. It's really helped my relationship with myself, because even after leaving that relationship with my ex, I was able to still have that tool of the positive affirmations and be like, okay, I'm going to start my day with thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for. I'm going to start my day with affirmations that affirm my confidence, affirm my beauty, affirm my intelligence, affirm my self-worth overall. And it's just been so helpful. Because one of the hardest parts of being in a toxic relationship, whether it's a friendship, like I mentioned earlier, a romantic relationship, a working relationship, familial relationship, whatever, because I've had people in all types of relationships try and tell me that I wasn't enough, try and tell me that I was this, that, and the third, try and tell me things that were not true about me, and try and convince me that those things were true. But through nurturing that relationship with myself and through practicing positive and affirming ways of self-talk every day, because it was at a point in my life where the negative words were so loud that like I never wanted to be in a moment of being alone by myself, you know? And another thing about my most recent ex is that he talked so bad about himself. So bad about himself. He would say horrible things about himself, like, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm just an idiot. Like, he hated himself. No, I'm convinced. Like, he really hated himself. Like, he would say such horrible things about himself. And I would have to affirm him. I'm like, babe, like, no, like, you're so smart, like, yada, yada, yada. And trying to affirm that. So it made sense why he was talking to me in such nasty ways, and why it was so easy for him to say negative things about myself. And that's the only thing that I can think about all these other people of why they have spoken negative things about me, is because they speak negatively about themselves. If you are looking to enhance your self-healing journey, your self-worth journey, and your relationship with yourself, I highly recommend my affirmations page that I've created. It's called affirmations, and it's just a tool that I can share with you guys that has helped me through these toxic relationships and that I keep returning to. So I want to remind everybody that has listened, if you made it this far in the episode, thank you. I'm so, so grateful. And yeah, this is a new start for Ad Tax. This is a new part of my journey. And if you're along for the ride, thank you for staying along for the ride. Again, keep an eye out for the Patreon. Follow addtax affirmations if this is something that has resonated with you and you would like to try affirmations and see if they work for you and your lifestyle. I highly, highly recommend. I can't recommend them enough. They've helped me in so many ways. Thank you for being here, and I'm so glad that we got to catch up. I hope everybody is doing well. And everybody made it through Mercury retrograde, okay. So I hope everybody's doing well. Oh my gosh. Yeah, as you guys can see, a lot of shit has happened, but I am just so grateful. So, so grateful, even in the midst of everything that's going on. So stay tuned again for the Patreon episode. Follow AdTax on every platform. The link tree is in the bio of the YouTube channel, and I'll put the link tree in the description of the podcast on every other platform. And also, I want to pat myself on the back for getting this podcast on every platform. If you're listening on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Audible, iHeart, Pandora, anywhere, Substack, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, whatever time of day it is. Always remember to know your worth and then add tax. Take it away, theme song.